Okay guys, how's it going? It's Jordan here. So today I'm going to work on this Warpath painting. So it's originally by Stroman, who did a bunch of cool stuff with X-Force, X-Factor. I think he did some Iron Man stuff that I really dug, but he's done a bunch of really cool stuff. And I thought that this would fit well for a painting. So I've got it here. The sketch based on the original painting there, or drawing. And then I'm just going to merge my two layers down there, and then I'm going to just drop, I got my original sketch layer, I'm going to drop out, delete, and then I'm just going to drop out my final kind of sketch here, down like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a palette from the poster. Here we go. And then we can start with the skin and stuff. So we're going to start here with, what I'm going to do for this originally is I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to do the flats here. And for the flats, I'm going to turn the brush just to 100% and just let it go and fill all the way in. Okay, and then I'm going to get that in there. Comes up. Got the hand here. And I'm putting in first the darker shadow color. Okay. And then this is his bicep here. And then it's really, then here you'll see. Yeah, this muscle here. Goes like that. Big arms here. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a lighter color on the same kind of scale here. And then we're going to go in here like this. And I'm just going to go where the highlights are and where we're going to have light and shadow. And this part I'm doing a little bit more carefully. So what we're doing is, when we're doing the one based on a comic, we're going to be trading in those absolute blacks, those super dark values, or four super dark or darker values in the painting, so that we're not going to have like in the original image, this is all black. That won't be the case. It's going to be in shadow and darker, but it's not going to fall into being like a simple black. It's going to have a little more depth in the painted one. Okay, and then all down here. And I'm just using a round brush. I really enjoy just using the round brush. It's basic, but I really like it. It's what I'm used to now. Not even used to it. I try a lot of brushes all the time, but I just come back to this quite a bit. Okay, so we're getting those packs filled in here. just like this. Okay, and then same thing. The thumb is going to have part of it in shadow or darker, and then there will also be some highlights here. Okay, so he's underlit. All right, the light's coming up towards his face. So the edges are catching some light here. Okay, and then I'll have a little more forearm muscle detail here. A little bit there. And then, as the forearms are bulging, you'll have something around there on the side. And then back to the hands here. The inside will all be underlit. So all back here will all be underlit. Right? And then the edges here. And these top edges I'm filling in right now, this beigey color. But what I'm going to do is be going over those with a bit more of a pink or a red here on the ones on the top that fall away a little bit. And this one catches lots of light here. Okay. And then this catches a bunch of light down here. Okay. Okay, and then highlight where a knuckle is. You can highlight where one of those veins will go to your hands. And then edge of that we can highlight, edge of the top of this, like that. And then here we can highlight as well. And then we want this to come right under like that. There we go. Okay, and on this side we won't have those same, highlights because that hand's falling away. So what we're gonna do for that side is we've got this pinker color and we're gonna try to use that. Okay, that's not. Oh no, I hit the wrong one. Oops. My bad. It's this pink here. We're going to try to use it. Yeah, like this. We'll go like that. And then we use the same thing we'll highlight here. Okay, and then the same thing here. Here I'm going to blend it in there. Okay, and then up here. Oh, I forgot we got to add a white kind of highlight up there. Okay, like that. And then there's pink kind of highlighting on where his necklace goes. Like that. Okay, and then here we're going to just go real light and get that highlight in here as well. Okay, and then here too, but just a touch. Put it like that so that I have a little bit more of an option there. And then none inside, a very faint amount here. I'll blend that. And then same thing here. Tiny bit here. And then in there a little more. And then I'm going to take the blend. And I have the blend set to acrylic so that I have a bit more of a painted look when I'm blending. That. And then here we'll blend this all down. I'm going to turn this a little bit bigger. There we go. There. Okay, so there we did that. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to take the eraser and I'm going to just zip around the borders and clean this up a bit before I do my next part. And then I'm going to start getting it on some of the costume details. What we'll do is get that shadow in next and get the black part of it. So what we're going to do here, just because it's going to help us, I think, for the form of everything else. So this, oops, it's way too big. Go back here. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to duck in on his costume. Duck in again. That goes straight. This hair is black, so there's a highlight there. And then I'll have a little bit of a highlight here. And the rest of this will be black to his head. So that'll all be black in here, as it's the background. So that, and then his hair goes like that, and then like this, and then over, and then you got this kind of wavy pattern. Like this. Kind of like that. Okay. And then the hair kind of continues. So it's kind of going like in a wild kind of way here. And it's being like exaggerated, like big time. which is fun. Okay, and then all of this is going to be black. So we will still have that blending into the background kind of quality in some parts of this, but it won't be this exact same. Oops, went too far on that. Okay, and then we've got the winged edge of the... Oops, let me go further. I can do it like this. There we go, guys. Okay. And then... just kind of noodling here. Filling in around. And then we've got these two feathers that are exaggerated here. And one goes like this. Like that, and then the top one, there's this exaggeration that just goes off. Okay, and then here, there's just like a cool little pattern that they put on. Probably supposed to be light reflecting through a window or something up here, really. And there we go. Okay, and then we need to connect all these. So we're going to go in, make sure everything is connected. That's connected. So that should be fine. This is all be done here. Okay, and then I think we're good here. Yep. Can do it like that. And then I just have to make sure we're closed on all these, and we'll do the same thing in bucket fill on the other side. Okay, I should really just fill that. Yep. And that. Yep. So there, that gives us some idea of like where this is going. Get a little bit bigger brush. I'm going to go over these borders. that. Okay. And then our next colors that we're going to go with are red. We're going to start with a bright one. And we're going to use the bright one for his headband. Okay, so that's his headband there. Okay, and then it's a chest logo for his outfit. Okay, and then big outline here on the edge, a highlight and a highlight. Okay, then more highlighting. I'm going to take a bigger brush. Some of this is going to get changed to a darker tone, but I'm going to get the bulk of the red in here. Okay, and then the same thing here. I'm just going to grab the red here. Okay, and then I'm going to go like this. Get that over to the side. Go like this. That. So where the corner juts out on that costume. Comes down. And then goes in where it's going to get too dark to see again. Okay, so we get that in there, and then we'll get the red bracelet. You can kind of see how that the costume's got, the colors are kind of all coming together now too, and on the painting you can see this is going to be a nice bold image. Take a sip of my cold coffee here. Cold coffee. Okay. That. Then we're going to get his wrist guard on this side, which goes around like that, and then up, and then this will clean up around the hand there, and then we're going to fill that in. do is get his costume in too. Okay, and then was it that? Yeah. And then like this. Okay. So we got his mask. And then let's get some shadow on this mask. So I'm going to take the darker red that we have. And we are going to follow the pattern that we have for our shadow already. So we have a couple little highlights there. Bring this all down here darker. And then all around is darker. So basically we're going to go a little bigger brush and okay, and then there's the darker side of the mask. And then on this side, a little highlight there. And then the top of this is a little highlight there, catches the light where the brow is. And then the rest of this is all dark. Okay. Okay, we've got that there. So now we got that part. I'm going to bring the brush size down again. And I'm going to get some shadow marked in. And then the headband, have some space on it. And then this will be shadow. Up here, a little bit of a highlight. And then here, a little bit of a highlight. And then a little bit of a dark patch there. And then here, we're going to have like a mid darker brown or red. We're just going to put a mid-tone in there. bit. We'll carry on actually even here a bit, so we're a little further away from the light, right? If it's coming down and up. So we can do that a bit. And then same thing here, where we're going to have a little bit of a highlight here. It'll really be a darker highlight. Okay, and then here we can start adding a bit of depth under the eyes with a little bit more of that darker red. Okay, and I don't totally love how it looks here, so I'm just going to adjust that a bit. Blend these in a bit. Okay. Then we're going back to this dark red. And right here, all the way up. And like that. Okay, so there, we got that part done. And now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the medium darker red and do a bit of shadow on top of the part of the logo at the chest here. Okay, like that. And then same thing on these gauntlets, I'll add some depth. All the parts. Oh, this part though, we're going to go darker black. There's some dark black spots on this gauntlet. Or darker brown, sorry. Red. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. Okay, give that a little bit of depth and helps blend it in. Same thing we'll do on this side. Also helps give it that painted look, right? Adding in those acrylic strokes on the blends. Okay. And I'm just going to pause it there for a second.